How's it going, everyone? I'm Grant Cohn. That's Coach Noah Johnston. Niners have their first preseason game tomorrow, and we're going to preview it today. Coach, it's tremendous to see you.
That's great. Another Friday, right? We got a preseason game tomorrow.
Yeah.
And hey, we're on time today, right? So all you haters out there that want to kill Grant for not being on time, it's 3 p.m.
in your face.
Yeah, in your face, haters.
Yeah.
You probably like Jimmy Garoppolo too.
Oh, he went there. Okay, we got some donations before the show even started, which is tremendous. Just tremendous. The word of the day. Tremendous. James WF says, is Shanahan's ego so big that he's convinced Lance can't fully grasp his offense by week 1? I think it's just a tremendous question, James. A flat-out tremendous question. And the reason I think I'm kind of falling into his conspiracy theory a little bit is that if Kyle really wants Trey Lance to play with the backups against the Chiefs starters, I almost feel like he wants Trey to look bad, which I can't understand a coach actually wanting his own player to look bad, but maybe it buys you time and gives you an excuse not to start him week 1. But I'm not sure that. Do you think he's looking for reasons not to start him week 1? I guess is the answer. The question.
I don't think so, right? I think he wants. I think he wants to. I think he wants to, right? I think he's slow playing it, but I mean, we'll see tomorrow if he does play.
Would you do that if you were a coach? Would you throw Trey Lance in the backups against Chris Jones and Tyron?
In high school, probably. But I mean, this is like Trey Lance is an asset.
It's a lot of stake. It's a lot of stake.
Trey Lance. I mean, this is a business. Trey Lance is an asset. You gave up major capital to move up and get him. Like, you do not want him hurt. He's so like, would I do it in my level? No, or yeah, but I mean, on that level, on the pro level, probably no. Because quarterbacks, especially a guy that you paid that much, that's an asset. You don't want to get him hurt. He's your future. I mean, we've talked about it before. You've talked about another cast, like the future, and even right now we're talking about the present. The present, it's about Trey Lance, right? The development of this team goes along with him. So I don't know that you want to risk it.
How can you expect a quarterback to look good and ready when he's playing with backups against starters? It's almost like you can't have any other expectation that he's going to look bad if that's what happens. Yeah,
and I know that maybe Kyle Shanahan wasn't aware of what Andy Reid said, that he's going to play. He's going to play. But I can say that on my level, like we at high school, when we have scrimmages, we talk to the other coach, the other staff, and we say, hey, this is what we want to do. Like, what do you do? And we fill it out. I'm pretty sure they probably do that on the pro level. And maybe Kyle hadn't talked to Andy yet, but he should. I'm sure they do it. I don't. If you have a pro guy on or through your channels, you can ask them. But I'm pretty sure they do that. Like, hey, Andy, what's your plan? Like, I'm going to play this guy or I'm going to play my starters. I think they do that.
I mean, the way I've read this the whole time is that Kyle's been looking to move on from Jimmy Garoppolo. Trey Lance may have been the third option, and there's a lot to like about him, but I think it's fair for the Niners to have had questions. Is he ready? He needs a lot of improvement on his mechanics. How quickly will that take? And I think what they're learning is he's exceeding expectations. If he continues to do that for another 4 weeks, I think they're going to start him. He hasn't done it yet, but he's on track. And the way I see this playing out is if Lance continues to do what he's doing, is the Niners will Jimmy will take a pay cut and stay as a backup for a year and then leave. So I'm not sure that he's necessarily wanting to start Jimmy week 1. I think if Trey's ready, that's the best news that the organization could have hoped for.
He's slow playing it. He's just
slow playing it. Ryan says, which starting position concerns you the most going into the season besides quarterback?
It's I guess the corner depth actually, like, it was a concern, but like now starting position, it seems like one of the safety spots. I think the safety,
strong safety.
Yeah, it's the safety spot. I mean,
strong safety. Yeah. Like, their starter right now is Tavon Wilson, who's not a starter in the NFL. He's a journeyman backup special teams guy. They just signed Clinton Dix, who they probably should have signed when Tavarius Moore went down. I mean, what do you think of Clinton Dix, other than his great name?
He was. I mean, can you really put your stock in a guy that was? I mean, he was cut from the Cowboys. I mean, I don't think he needed to play the rest of last year. If he was so awesome, somebody would have picked him up after he was cut from the Cowboys. Like, oh, we got to get Clinton Dix. And even then, remember, he was jettisoned from the Cowboys because they were having issues with Mike Nolan, and Haha was one of the guys that was, I think he was very verbal about Mike Nolan, and so they're just like, yeah, see ya, and he didn't get signed. Like, it wasn't so. There was definitely a perception around the league that Mike Nolan wasn't doing a good job, but even that being said, Haha Dix wasn't picked up. People were like, "Oh yeah, Mike Nolan's not using him correctly. Let me just scoop him up."
My prediction is that Talanoa Hufanga will start the most games at strong safety of anyone. I'm not sure that Jaquiski Tartt will ever play again or this year. I don't think that Tavon Wilson is going to last long as a starter, and I think Hufanga, he has limitations in coverage that we've seen, but I think the way the Niners are going to use the strong safety is, split safety zone, single high on third down, never man-to-man. That's Jimmy Ward.
The guy, and I was going to bring this up, we were talking about the preseason, and I brought him up before, is that I'm interested to see is Jared Maiden. I know, like, I listen to your reports every day, and I don't see him. He's not in the good section a lot of time, but he's not in the bad. So
no.
And when you read off the catches, he's not showing up and like, oh yeah,
that's
like
true.
This guy. And you know what? Who does that sound a lot like?
Who? Ward.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
He's not he doesn't pick balls off, but he doesn't give up the plays, right? So that'd be a guy tomorrow. I'm curious to see what he does.
Yeah. Hold on. I'm just gonna block a bunch of users real quick, just because. Hold on. Let me get this guy. You got blocked.
Mangold, where you at, man? Like.
Yeah. Hold on. Let me block this guy. Sweet. That was fun. Okay. Yeah. Another one. Right guard.
Yeah. Whether Jimmy or Trey Lance is in there, I mean, you got to protect them, right? Like,
I mean, nothing against Daniel Brunskill, but he pretty much got worked in one-on-ones. The Niners have very good defensive tackles, so he's had success against Aaron Donald. Nothing to sneeze at, but they drafted Aaron Banks in round 2 because they wanted a new starter at right guard, and he's not stepping up, so that's a problem. It's not ideal. Yeah. Those are the two spots where they're basically starting guys who aren't starters. Strong safety and right guard. Other than there, the Niners have starting level players at every spot. I actually, ever since Emmanuel Moseley got back from the COVID list, he looks terrific. I gotta say, he looks really good. He looks bigger. If he gets beat, it's not on a long play, and he breaks up passes intended for IU Debo. Good player.
Yeah, and I mean, it seems like Ambry Thomas is trending up. So if Verrett and Moseley can hold down the fort at least until Ambry is ready, at some point to step in and spell them if need be through injury or other reasons, then that'll work out.
All right, let's get into our show. Looking at this game tomorrow night, do you think Kyle Shanahan will hold back Trey Lance in the sense of not a lot of design runs, not a lot of shots down the field, mostly quick passes from the pocket?
I'm not sure, but I do think that it might answer the question that you first got is does Kyle want him to start? If Kyle is letting him kind of is letting him off the leash, you'll get an idea of, hey, he wants this kid to start. If you see a lot of handoffs and not big shots down the field, not letting him showcase what the kid can do,
right?
Then you might be leaning towards, hey, he probably wants Jimmy to start and wants to be super careful with what he shows of this kid, because if Trey Lance goes nuts tomorrow, he's going to get pressure from the fans, and he might even get pressure from his boss to play Lance.
That's a good point. So yeah, what is the timeline Kyle Shanahan wants? We'll see that tomorrow. If he's got Trey Lance going with the backups against the starters, I'm thinking he wants Jimmy to start week 1 because I don't think Trey's going to play that well with Tom Compton and Sean Coleman protecting him, throwing to Richie James Jr. and Jawan Jennings. I don't think it's going to go that well, but maybe I'm wrong.
I was asked last night in your Discord whether or not I felt like they were going to use Trey Lance and design runs, and I mean, I would. I mean, it's not like teams have never seen the option before. There's only so many different ways you can block it up. Like, would I show them specific packages like the jet sweep and off of that? No, but you could run the quarterback. Like teams know you're going to run Trey Lance this year, whether he's starting or not.
I'd give him a couple lead blockers though, and they do that where you have guys going around. I wouldn't really necessarily have him going out there naked.
And it's also like if you do plan to play your second team and they've got a pass rush going on, it's a way to slow those guys down.
Yeah,
too.
Absolutely. So yeah, I guess what you're saying is if he doesn't let Lance show his athleticism, the legs, the arm strength, he's doing it on purpose because he doesn't want pressure to start in week 1. Is what you're saying?
Probably. That's what I would say. Maybe he will. But
if he's calling shots like, hey, I got 3 15-yard throws in the game plan and a 25-yarder. If you hit him, fans will instantly love you. Let's do it. Because that's what Harbaugh did with Colin. When Kaepernick finally got that start against the Bears because Alex was hurt, I was like, the first 5 throws were aggressive. It's like, I'm going to call 5 throws I would never call for Alex Smith. Yeah. If you hit these, you get you've won the team over. Let's see what you do. And Kaepernick hit him.
But and Harbaugh was a competitor, right? So he, if the opportunity was there, he was going to do it. But I do think Kyle has a little bit of that in him too, and it'll be interesting to see if he can even help himself, right? Because there didn't the defense corner, didn't he say like that he treats Kyle is notorious for treating practice like a game. Like he'll scout his own defense and like call shots on his even though it's practice, he knows that you're weak against this and he's going to call it in practice. So
because he can't turn it off, right? Like that's how he is. Yeah.
He just might not be able to help himself. So we'll see.
Yeah, we'll interpret how he's used and go from there. Goldblatt, what?
I was just gonna say the one thing that Kyle could do with the starters, or maybe he could pull some, like maybe you pull Trent, you don't play Trent, but you play McGlinchey.
Sure.
Maybe
good idea. Give him some.
Maybe you play Brunskill at center and you play something like that. Still play Lakin, like something like that.
Better play Brunskill at center because their backup center right now is freaking
what's his name?
Alex Brendel or something. I think he was UCLA. Shout out. But yeah, no, that's fair. Okay, so take out some of your starters, but give them like, Ayuk, give them one of the receivers, give them Sermon. If it's not Kittle, give them Dwelley, give them Sanu. Give them some guys. That's all I'm saying. Because you can't expect any quarterback to look good if 10 starters are missing. Come on.
The crazy thing is, it's not only is it Tom Compton, right? But you're playing a guy that hasn't played right tackle before. Like whether it's Tom Compton or, Steve Smith or whatever, like he hasn't even whether he's good or not, he hasn't played that position.
How did the Niners look at Tom Compton's tape at guard last season and be like, you know what? Let's move this. He needs a bigger challenge. He needs a bigger challenge. Goldblatt 21 says, highly doubt it happens, but if Lance throws to it, I'm sorry, I just don't understand how that happened. He should have been moved to like left bench.
Maybe they looked at the $2 million they were paying him, and they were like, well, we got to get a little bit more out of that. So if we move him to right tackle, it'll look a little better on the books.
No,
right?
It's because School went down. If School was here, the tackles would be him and Coleman and Moore. But when School went down, they had to get creative, and Compton stepped up. I respected Tom. More you can do.
Like he's
like, look, I know I'm not going to make the team as a guard, so let me try as a tackle. They're like, all right, give it a shot.
Tom Compton is a millionaire. And
damn right.
He's getting paid.
That's the thing. We make fun of Tom Compton. Like the guy has made millions of dollars at his craft. I haven't done that yet. So hat tip to Tom Compton. Because it hit me the other day when I was looking at Robbie Gould's over the cap page. I was like, dude, this guy's going to bank $50 million in his life for kicking footballs. Like, what a G. What a freaking G. Like that guy is the ultimate gangster. To be able to get $50 million just from kicking footballs good. Like how many people, 8 people can do that?
The thing about kickers is you can play for a long time. I think Warren Anderson played till he was like 40-something.
Real quick, is he a Hall of Famer, Robbie Gould?
He might.
His accuracy percentage is up there. Let me see real quick. I'm just curious. Is Robbie Gould a Hall of Famer?
Who is the last kicker to go in? Is it
all-time kicker percentage? I don't think he's in yet. Is he still playing?
Oh yeah, I think
he's still playing. He's like 57 years old. Okay, Robbie Gould is 6th all time. Number 1 is Justin Tucker. Number 2 is Harrison Butker, who's only been kicking for 4 years. Number 3 is Josh Lambo, who's been kicking for 6. Number 4 is Chris Boswell, same. Number 5 is Will Lutz, and number 6 is Robbie Gould. So people who've had like real long careers, Robbie Gould, I mean, he has a higher percentage than Vinatieri, Mike Vanderjagt, like a lot of guys who were great.
Is Morton Anderson in the Hall of Fame? I don't remember.
I think he is. Anyway, we don't need to talk about Robbie Gould that much.
Yeah.
Think about it. All right, let's move on. Who do you think will stand out against the Chiefs other than, a quarterback?
I think offensively, I'm going to say
Lynchy.
McGlinchey. I don't think they're going to play him enough. I think Trent Sherfield, because I think they're going to play him. I think he's going to play him a lot, and I think it's from your reports. All his quarterbacks seem to find him in practice.
Yeah.
So I think he could have one of those games where like it's a 100-yarder in a preseason.
His skill set matches up with Lance very well because he runs routes on the outside, and Lance has this big, strong arm that can get it there, and he goes up and gets the ball and has good hands. Because they're a good match. Jimmy can't get the ball to Trent Sherfield. You don't even need him on the field. If Jimmy throws it to George Kittle, Ross Dwelley, and the running backs basically, and the wide receivers if they're right in front of his face.
Defensively, I'm going to say Arden Key because I think he's going to play a lot because they don't have a lot of defensive ends. So I think you're probably going to get like 2 to 3 quarters probably of Arden Key. So
I think say other guys too. Now that you say it, Maurice Hurst, Kentavious Street. Maurice Hurst is a good pass rusher. Kentavious Street is a good all-around defensive tackle. He's huge. He's explosive, and I think he's even better than DJ Jones. I think he could start at 3 technique for the Niners, and I think he maybe should unless Javon Kinlaw shows something, because Kinlaw is like here for a day, gone a day consistently. Kentavious Street was just out there whooping ass all training camp. Good for you, Kentavious.
Is he on a contract year?
Probably, yeah. Hold on, let me look that up real quick. He's playing like it. Over the cap. Yeah. Yeah, hell yeah, he is. Absolutely.
Yeah, he's in a contract year, so yeah, he probably is going to have a good year, and maybe that could be like one of the things where they might want to play Kinlaw because like we don't want Kentavious to get too many sacks, like so we can just like get him on a cheap deal next year.
Yeah, game the system a little bit there. Yeah. Like I've always liked Kevin Givens, but and he may stand out too. But Kentavious Street was the MVP of that unit this offseason, and Maurice Hurst is very interesting too.
Kentavious Street I don't think he made it. I can't remember if he made it to the combine, but he supposedly he has crazy numbers. Like I think he runs like a 4.7, and he squats 700 pounds. He's a workout beast. And it seems like he's putting it together and on the field too. So,
that's the thing. He's he can run sideline to sideline, but off the snap, he's very explosive and he's very big. Keeps his pads low and he's very violent. When I watched Javon Kinlaw, he didn't do those things. He would pop. He would be kind of upright. He would pop up, and it's like he was used to just overwhelming people without any type of technique, and he couldn't do that to Laken Tomlinson. Whereas Kentavious Street beat Laken Tomlinson quite a lot in one-on-ones this offseason, which I think is, if you can beat Laken Tomlinson one-on-one, that means you are a starting level defensive tackle in the NFL.
Yeah. Have they ever played Kentavious at defensive end?
Yeah, they not that much, but they gave him a couple of reps there in one-on-ones, and he beat. It wasn't McGlinchey, but it was whoever. It was probably Tom Compton.
My thought just there would be that he could possibly be a replacement for Eric Armstead. If Eric.
That's why I think they drafted him, because they weren't certain they were going to give Armstead the long extension. They picked up his 5th-year option, and that was controversial. I think there was a possibility that if Armstead didn't have that big year, they would have let him go, and that was the purpose for Street, because he was a D end in college.
Yep, he played opposite. What's his name?
Myles Garrett.
NC State.
NC State. Oh,
I'm trying to remember. Oh, the guy that got drafted in Denver. He went to
Chubb. Chubb.
Played opposite Chubb.
All right. Okay. Anyone else? Trey Sermon could stand out. JaMychal Hasty. I think JaMychal Hasty will stand out. River Craycraft could stand out. I make fun of River Craycraft. I understand why Kyle kept him in Dante Pettis because, I don't mean to take a shot at Dante Pettis, but I think it's fair to question Dante Pettis' work ethic. I think they felt like, hey, man, when you're not around here, what are you doing? Look at your body. Look at the results you're having. I feel like River Craycraft works his butt off, so I don't want to curse too much. And he had a really good camp, so he's not going to make the team, but he's one of these guys in his mid-20s who could hang around on the practice squad and get some reps, get some starts, or not starts, but playing time later in the year if people get hurt like last year. So River Craycraft.
I think I mentioned before. I think Jared Maiden could have a very good game, but I think he won't show it. It won't show it to in the stats or like to your. You're gonna have to go back on film, and be like, oh wow, like this guy didn't give up any catches and was on his man the whole game.
I also want to see Hufanga. I want to see. Yeah, he's gonna look better in a real game than in practice.
Probably so. I mean, and a guy like Sermon, like you said, he's a guy that could end up having a lot of yards. They'll probably use him a lot. JaMychal Hasty, like you said,
they could go dial it back on Sermon because Sermon's part of their first team offense.
Okay,
it could be more Hasty, Gallman, Mitchell.
Yeah, I watched your roster prediction last night. You predicted that Hasty might be the last man out.
Yeah.
And
be careful though, because he looks terrific in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, I would probably go if he's looking terrific, and he looked good last year.
Yeah, I liked him.
I would probably go with him over Gallman. Cheaper, younger, faster,
better.
And you got a fumbling problem. You got a fumbling problem with Gallman, and your
is that right?
I don't
know anything about Gallman like that.
I thought the reports in practice that Trey Lance's read option fumbles seemed to be.
Oh, that is true.
Right.
Yep.
So
I like Hasty better. I think Hasty has some vicious jump cuts, and I think he looked like an undrafted free agent rookie last year. He just looked kind of small. His legs are huge now, and I'm curious. I'm eager for you guys to see what I think. He has a totally new body.
He's good in the pass game. Like so.
Yep. He's really good in the pass game. The two guys on the team, the three guys who are the best route runners on the team, Jeff Wilson Jr., Trey Sermon, JaMychal Hasty. Mostert's a good receiver too, but he's more with like speed. Like he can beat you with a wheel route or like one cut, but these guys can kind of like cut outside of their frame and juke you like with crossovers. Jeff Wilson Jr. is great at that. Sermon and Hasty have that too. Yeah.
Yeah. The more backs that can receive the ball, the better. They give you that added element, because they seem to get these guys hurt. So
especially if Jimmy's the quarterback, because again, Jimmy really is living with the tight ends and the running backs, kind of like Alex Smith did it for a while in Kansas City. But it's a lot of Kittle and Mostert and Sermon. So yeah, those guys are important.
Yep,
and I think Lance will check it down too. He's fairly conservative in that way. Let's say the Niners want to start Trey Lance week 1. They could keep Jimmy and get him to take a pay cut, or they could trade him if some team needs him. Which team do you think needs him the most?
I think that you have the right state but the wrong team. In light of recent events, it seems like maybe this Dak injury, it's a little bit more than the Cowboys are willing to let on.
Explain for people who aren't following Dallas like me.
So Dak supposedly that in practice he was just throwing light objects, not a football. Then he was throwing a football, but very lightly. Then he's gone for a second MRI. Now, if things are going well on an injury, you don't go for a second MRI. They're saying it's just like a checkup, it's normal, but that's not really normal. And he's not chucking the ball at practice. So it seems like that there's something going on there. And supposedly reports are like, I haven't watched the Hard Knocks, but I guess Jerry Jones was on the phone in Hard Knocks talking to different trainers and stuff about Dak's injury, like the guy from the Yankees and another organization. So it seems like maybe there's more to this injury than than the Cowboys are letting on. And if that's the case, the Cowboys are a team that they always want to win now. You've got a division that's not great. There's always pressure on that organization. People think Mike McCarthy's a goofball. I mean, there's pressure on him too. So to me, that's like the perfect storm. Like, because if their organization is so reliant on Dak, like they need a quarterback. Like they need a quarterback.
That's a good call. Which team is going to get desperate? It doesn't seem like the Colts are there at all. It seems like, well, the owners have even come out and said, like, we're not going to trade for another quarterback. We're committed to Wentz for the long term. We want him to come back when he's healthy. All right, we'll see how many games you lose along the way. Dallas seems like they're desperate. And so what does this look like to you for Dak? Like, do you think he could miss the start of the season?
I don't know. It's hard to say because I don't know what's coming out. I mean, some of these injuries, like if he had a setback, it could be half a season or more. I mean, I believe it's his. Isn't this his labrum no? It's his leg, right? It's his. So it could be very serious, or it could just be a couple weeks. I think, but I don't. It's hard. It's hard to say, but if they don't have Dak, they're in big trouble. So to me, that would be a situation or something similar to that, where a team that's desperate to win now, and that type of owner that that just can't do a season where they're not in.
They're not good. Yeah,
they're not in.
And that's Jerry Jones.
Mm-hmm.
Right. That would
be the ideal situation. Not only that, like if I was on the phone, I was John Lynch, and I was talking to them, like, listen, like, your offensive line is great. Your division's not that great, So like, listen, Jimmy's played in the toughest division in football for all these years. He went to the Super Bowl. He can operate an offense. Mike McCarthy, you've been playing in the shadow of Aaron Rodgers and now Dak, and people question you. I mean, imagine if you won your division with Jimmy Garoppolo, and how people would be like, oh wow, you're a pretty good coach now. I mean.
It's true. That's good. That's a good sell job right there. Tobin says, who out there could Niners pick up with a Jimmy salary adjustment or trade? Names, positions, what are the possibilities? Well, it opens you up. It puts them in the market at the deadline for whoever is disgruntled, whoever wants out. J.C. Jackson, Stephon Gilmore. I mean, there are people that could potentially be available at the deadline that the Niners can't get now, but could get then.
Yeah, I think again, the Niners are probably slow playing that too, because they want to see where they're at and where other teams are at. Like, I think the price for a guy like Gilmore could go down if the Patriots move out of contention. The price for Gilmore could go down because they don't need him, and he probably, although he's won a Super Bowl, so he's not one of those guys I think that's like itching to get on a contender. His issue is just he wants to get paid.
Yep. Okay, last topic of the day. This is something I was talking about with my dad. I had no insight, and I would like to ask you. You often see teammates fighting teammates in training camp. Not the first day, but often the 9th or the 10th, because they're hitting each other constantly, and I guess it's just natural. My question is, when teammates go at it like that, once, twice, like Kevin Givens and Tomlinson did, and they have to be separated, and they probably say stuff to each other during the moment, does it carry over in the locker room? How does it finally end? And what's that like? Is it awkward?
I think this has been like around football since its inception, and it's the nature of an aggressive, violent sport. These things are going to happen, and players tend to move on from it. It doesn't become personal. And sometimes in practice, like the personal stuff moves over into the physical, and then it kind of separates after you get off the field. Like, think about it. You've got 90 guys there, and on other levels you've got 90 to 50 guys. Just by sheer numbers, you're going to have personality conflicts, and guys aren't going to like other guys, and
right.
And so that, and then you combine into combine into what's going on the field where you're physically going at it with people. There's just plenty of opportunities for it to go to another level, but that stuff tends to not linger. And guys get over it.
Do you see guys like go up to each other and talk to each other in the locker room, or just move on?
They just kind of move on. They know what the deal is. I mean, sometimes they'll talk.
You don't have to have a big emotional conversation about it. Like, hey man, I was out of line. I really respect you, man.
Nah, they just move. Yeah. Just move on. I mean, and even from a coaching perspective, like I'm sure you might have seen it where coaches screaming at each other on the field, but like right after the game, you go and you're hanging out, and it's like that never happened.
That's true. That's true.
It's the nature of the game.
Yeah, I mean, I've seen ones like it didn't happen this year, but back in the Harbaugh days, people would throw punches. I remember Anquan Bolden threw a punch at the face mask of some undrafted corner because it was a little too thought he was a little too physical in a one-on-one drill, and Harbaugh broke it up. He always liked to insert himself into stuff, and he threw Anquan Bolden out. Like he took sides. He was like, "Get the hell out of here, Anquan! Get the hell out of here!" And Anquan like walked away as slowly as he could. It was funny to watch someone walk in slow motion. He's like, "All right, I'll go to that guy."
Did that guy make the team?
No, absolutely not. It just felt like an opportunity for Kyle to kind of like assert himself as the alpha male of the team, basically. I get to throw Anquan Bolden out. This is great. Love it.
That corner probably went home like, man, I'm gonna make the team. Like, coach loves me right in there, right in back.
It was an opportunity for Harbaugh to assert his dominance over Anquan, not for Harbaugh to stick up for the underdog. Like whatever. You know what I mean? That's what it was.
I was. With Lance, I was thinking about this, and I wanted to ask you. And I think you talked about it at the beginning, is that Lance might have been their number 3 guy, and we talked about how that whole trade deal went on at Zach Wilson's pro day. And at the time, we speculated it was because the Jets might have told the Niners, "Hey, we're not taking Zach Wilson." Did maybe was Lance their number 1 or 2 guy, and the Jets told him, "Hey, we are taking Zach Wilson," and Kyle was like, "Damn, Robert, you got my guy," and was possible. Like, "Hey, make the deal." Like, "Hey, John, make the deal." Like, possible. They're not taking our guy.
It's possible. I still believe what people reported, that he wanted Mac Jones at first, but it's possible, man. I mean, maybe he just wanted to make sure that it wasn't Mac Jones. It's like, "Oh, you want Zach Wilson, not Mac Jones?" Oh, okay. All right. Face Mob 701 says, "Hey guys, Grant, what's your opinion of Ross Dwelley at this point? Was there steady improvement through camp?"
Wait, hold on. Face Mob, do you not follow him?
Yeah, come on.
You're asking him what is his opinion of Ross Dwelley.
I'm just gonna assume it's like Ross Dwelley's mom or something. So I'm gonna say, he definitely improved steadily. And the thing that's most impressive to me, I've always been impressed with Ross's game, but like I think there's always a question: how much would it translate to real football? Because he's so skinny for a tight end. Everyone always be like, "Yeah, but he's skinny. Yeah, but he can't block. Sure, he can get open. He has good hands." I mean, everyone can see that. But this year, he looks like a real tight end. His legs are way bigger. I think he's built to like start or to take a lot more responsibility off dirty work off of George Kittle's plate. I think that's the kind of body transformation that would take years and dedication. He's done it. So I think you're going to definitely see the best of him. He's also in a contract year.
You think? Yeah.
Bingo.
You think he's like 250 maybe?
I would say that he's probably 245, whereas Jordan Matthews is 235. And I would say that Kittle is 240. His legs are skinny. I think he looks much more like a receiver. You
think Kittle's really is 240? Because I remember I've seen him listed in 240 since he was a rookie, and I was like, no way, he can't be 240.
I know, right? His upper body's real built, but his legs are skinnier this year. I don't know. Maybe he wants to take a little weight off so he doesn't break his foot when he runs. I don't know.
Interesting. Very interesting.
Yeah. So thank you for paying me $5 to talk about Ross Dwelley. I could do that all day for free.
You did have to pay for that.
All right. Our show is over. I got to spend the next 25 minutes doing maintenance on my mid back, which I injured this morning at 5:30 in the morning. It's a great way to start the day. But I'm gonna bounce back. It's okay.
Yeah, you gotta recoup. Tomorrow's a big day, man.
Big day. Thank you for coming on. Great to see you, Coach.
Of course. You got it.
Thanks for all your donations and all you for watching. I'll be back in 25 minutes with Jack and Jose, who are going to share their practice observations over the last couple of days. So see you then.
Thanks, guys.